Hello everyone, my name is Meichao. I'm now a PhD candidate from Norwegian University of Science and Technology Nanomechanical Lab. And I'm very appreciated for having this opportunity to sharing my work with you. And today I'm going to introduce a modeling framework unifying hydrogen-enhanced plasticity and decohesion. Up one? Okay, up one. Thank you. Yeah, this part of work is within the Haiyang project, and I'm working on the work package for structural integrity assessment and model development. Here comes the outline of my talk. First, I will briefly introduce the cohesive zoo model, complete Gerson model, the ductile to brittle transition, since these are the basis of our new framework. And maybe most of you are not familiar with this. Then I will introduce our new modeling framework, H complete Gerson model plus. At last, I will talk to application of our H complete Gerson model plus. As we know, there are three very important factors for hydrogen embrittlement: the absorbed hydrogen, the loading, and the material microstructure. Also, to build a sound hydrogen embrittlement simulation tool at continuum level, three elements are very necessary: a HE mechanism, an accurate mechanical model, and an easy calibration. As for the hydrogen embrittlement mechanisms, two of them are widely used: HED mechanism and HELP mechanism. And based on HED mechanism, cohesive zoo model and phase field model are extensively studied. And while to describe the hydrogen influence on plasticity, the Gerson model and the unit cell analysis can be adopted. And then I will go into cohesive zoo model and the Gerson model. Cohesive zoo model is designed to simulate the brittle fracture, such as the intergranular fracture. To begin with the simulation, a cracking path needs to be predefined, so it's sort of a post-failure analysis. And along this cracking path, cohesive elements are set. The mechanical behavior of the cohesive elements is described by a traction separation law, such as this polynomial one. Upon loading, the stress inside the cohesive element will increase until to the maximal. Then it will trigger the crack initiation. And when the separation of the cohesive element reaches the maximal, it will have the final fracture. And this shows the global force displacement curve. Then with hydrogen, we can think that the stress needed to trigger crack initiation could be lowered based on heat mechanism. And correspondingly, the global force displacement curve will have less ductility. On the other hand, the Gerson model is designed to simulate the ductile fracture. And as we know, the ductile fracture is a process of void nucleation, void growth, and void coalescence. Especially the void coalescence plays a very important role since it decides the final fracture. And this equation describes the yield function of the GTM model. In GTM model, there is a very important parameter, void volume fraction F, since this parameter can control the whole voiding process. For example, when the value reaches the critical value Fc, void coalescence would happen, the failure would happen. And this right figure shows the analytical illustration of the GTM model. GTM model is designed to describe the homogeneous deformation of the void, such as the void nucleation and the void growth. However, it cannot represent the void coalescence behavior. To incorporate void coalescence, a localized deformation criteria was added. And we can see here in the right figure, when the plastic strain is very small, we can see the stress needed to trigger void coalescence is very big. And while the stress for the homogeneous deformation is low. So in this sense, the blue curve is favorable, void growth is favorable until to this intersecting point. And after this intersecting point, the void coalescence is favorable. So this intersecting point indicates the beginning of the void coalescence, the beginning of the failure. And the F value at this intersecting point is exactly the FC value we talked here. And this complete model, including the homogeneous deformation of the void and the localized criteria for void coalescence, is regarded as the complete Gerson model, CGM. And then let's see how hydrogen will influence on complete Gerson model. This figure shows the illustration of the complete Gerson model we just talked. And then with hydrogen, we can think that the stress needed to trigger void coalescence could be lowered based on help mechanism. And then in this sense, the void coalescence would happen in this green intersecting point, and then cause the loss of ductility. And this hydrogen influence can be achieved by implementing an acceleration parameter on voiding process, such as Kg on void growth process. And when the Kg is big, it means this blue curve has big tangent, so it will intersect earlier, and then will cause the early coalescence and early fracture. The right up figure shows the global force displacement curves with different kgs. Here we can see with the increase of kg, the decrease of the ductility. While this down figure shows the void volume fraction at fracture FC values with different kg. Here we see that with the increase of kg, the increase of FC. So these two figures indicate that for more embrittled samples, there is big void volume fraction at fracture. So this is not in accordance with many experimental results. And actually, this is also a disadvantage if we only consider help-related mechanisms in complete Gerson model. Further, if we combine the complete Gerson model and the cohesive zoo model, the ductile to brittle transition can be well simulated. And this figure shows the ductile fracture. This is the brittle fracture. And this S-curve indicates the transition from ductile to brittle transition. And this figure reveals there is a critical hydrogen concentration to trigger the brittle fracture. And also, this S-curve is material dependent, which means that different materials will have different critical hydrogen concentration. And we can see here also the key feature of hydrogen embrittlement. The ductile to brittle transition has been well simulated with this combined method, complete Gerson model plus cohesive zoo model. But there are several disadvantages of this combined method. First, we cannot implement plasticity and decohesion simultaneously. Second, we need a predefined cracking path. Third, we need to calibrate many parameters. So based on this, we think a new model is needed. And this new model, on the one hand, should be able to simulate the ductile to brittle transition. On the other hand, do not have these disadvantages. Then let's see our new model, complete Gerson model plus. Again, this left figure shows the illustration of the complete Gerson model. We have the homogeneous deformation of the void, path A, the localized deformation void coalescence, path B. And based on this, we can add a path C. It's a stress-based decohesion criteria, and this decohesion stress can be defined as gamma. Actually, gamma is quite flexible, and when gamma is located in the orange region, it will have no effect to the global failure strain. Still, the void coalescence would happen in this red intersecting point. It's the original complete Gerson model. But when gamma is located in the green region, it will take effect. And in this time, the weight coalescence would happen in this orange intersecting point. And when gamma is located in this area, with the decrease of the gamma, it will have decreased global failure strain. And then we can expect that there is a critical gamma C value which will indicate the initiation of the brittle fracture. And also in this right figure, we can see that the result of complete Gaussian model plus is the same as the result of complete Gaussian model plus cohesive zoom model, since these two curves are almost overlapped to each other. And then let's see how hydrogen will influence on the complete Gaussian model plus. And this figure is shows the hydrogen influence on Gaussian model, on complete Gaussian model we just talked. And based on this, we have part C. Without hydrogen, usually the decohesion stress is very large in the material. But because of hydrogen, this decohesion stress can be lowered based on HED mechanism. And when the hydrogen concentration is low, we can see here, in this model, it's still the help will dominate the failure. The sample will still falls in this green intersecting point, cause the loss of ductility. But when the hydrogen concentration is high enough, then the magnitude of decrease is high. And then in this sense, HED will dominate the failure. And where the coalescence would happen in the orange intersecting point, cause this loss of ductility. So here we can also expect that there is a critical hydrogen concentration value that will trigger the brittle fracture. And here we can also see in the H complete Gaussian model plus, the final failure is dependent on the competition between help-dominated mechanism and heat-dominated mechanism driven by hydrogen concentration. Numerically, we have established both implicit algorithms and explicit algorithms for our H complete Gaussian model plus. In implicit algorithm, we use the UMAT HT code from Emilio, and he's here, thanks to him. And in the hydrogen diffusion model, the hydrogen concentration, the hydrogen diffusion is governed by the gradient of the hydrogen concentration, and will also influenced by the gradient of hydrostatic stress and the strain rate. And these two terms, hydrostatic stress gradient and the strain rate, can get from the complete Gaussian model plus. And here, the hydrogen concentration we can get from the hydrogen diffusion model. So it's a fully coupled model. And this algorithm is suitable for the simple geometry, and it will have a good computational efficiency. But it will encounter convergence problems when the geometry is very complex, such as the microstructure-based model. So we have the explicit algorithm for the complex geometry. And in this algorithm, we developed the VU-MET HT code with the help of Díaz. And unfortunately, he is not here now. Yeah. And this diffusion model is based on the chemical potential strategy. And we can use this algorithm to calculate the microstructure-based model. And then I will show the application of our H complete Gaussian model plus. Here we simulated a simple geometry with implicit algorithm. This is note the tensile bar specimen is a pre-charged case. We simulate the initially homogeneously distributed hydrogen inside the specimen. And then we checked the global failure strain with different hydrogen concentrations. And here we can see this green curve. We found that there is a transition of help-dominated mechanism to heat-dominated mechanism when the hydrogen concentration is reached reaches a critical one. And here in this case is 0.3 WPPM. And the other two codes, the red code and the blue code, are hid and help only cases, and is used to show that our model captures the competition between help dominated mechanism and hid dominated mechanism. And these three figures shows the hydrogen concentration of total hydrogen concentration, lattice hydrogen concentration, and trapped hydrogen concentration. And here is lattice hydrogen concentration dominates, and the trapped hydrogen accumulates at the notch, at this notch area, since this is the place where a plastic strain accumulates. And this slide shows that shows that our H-completer Gaussian model plus predict the suitable void volume fraction at fracture. Here we can see, with the increase of the hydrogen concentration, the decrease of the ductility. And also for the FC values, when the help dominated, the FC will increase a little bit with the increase of hydrogen concentration. But when it's in heat-dominated area, the FC values will drop largely. So this is in accordance with many experimental results. And then I will show the application of explicit algorithm. Here we simulated a polycorenes, and it's also a pre-charged case. And then we captured both intergranular fracture, transgranular fracture, and the mix of these two fractures. And the result is dependent on the hydrogen concentration, the trapping effect, and the microstructure, the specific microstructure. Here's my conclusion. We proposed a unified platform solving for the simulation of hydrogen embrittlement. And in this platform, both plasticity dominated and decohesion dominated failure modes driven by hydrogen concentration, trapping, and materials microstructure are well simulated. And we have both implicit and explicit algorithms for this platform. And then I want to mention that my work is just a specific part of the plenary talk, void-based predictive framework for hydrogen embrittlement, which will be delivered by my supervisor, Professor Zhiliang Zhang, on Thursday, and I hope you are looking forward to it. At last, I want to acknowledge all my co-authors, and many of them are here. Yu, he will give a talk soon, and Professor Antonio, Professor Jianying, and Professor Zhiliang. And also, I want to acknowledge the fundings from Research Council of Norway through Haiyang and MHIT projects, and all the industry partners. Thank you so much.